Hi everyone, good morning. Good morning. My name is Sibani Sekhar. I head marketing at RPA Tech. Today we have joined for a LinkedIn live session on demystifying agentic automation. I have with me Alok, CEO and founder RPA Tech, and Rajesh, regional vice president of UiPath. I have the two gentlemen who have been there, done that when it comes to automation, digital transformation, and seeing the seeing the industry moving from RPA to agentic automation. Today we will discuss about that and demystify the buzz surrounding the word agentic automation nowadays. Yeah. So just to start with, we will anchor the discussion on agentic automation. So Rajesh, if I come to you first to start with, you are seeing the industry transforming from, say, moving from rule-based RPA to agentic automation. So in the process, there is a lot of buzz. There is a lot of mystery. There are a lot of questions, a lot of excitement as well. So, but whenever there is a new technology that comes in, there are a lot of buzz like that how it is happening with agentic. But a little bit of clarity is needed at this point in time for leaders and technology adopters to how to approach this. So, can you just simplify it for us?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sivani. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Rajesh Undaviya, and I lead the enterprise sales for UiPath in India. I'm based in Mumbai. Thank you, Sivani. Thank you, Alok and RPA Tech team for having me here. Really excited to be participating in this discussion. We know that agentic automation is everywhere. It's the buzzword. It's the boardroom discussion. Everybody is talking about it, and no discussion or no forum is complete without having discussed the agentic automation. And that's the topic which is also close to my heart. So let's understand, as you said, Sibani. I think there is a lot of buzz, there is a lot of excitement, there is a lot of a different definition going around. But if we have to demystify agentic automation, I think it is important that we take a step back and understand as to how the automation has evolved over the past couple of years. As you rightly said, automation started with simple task automation. And then I think the major shift came in when RPA was in. So RPA, as we call Robotic Process Automation, was a major breakthrough, and it provided organization with streamlining the processes on a rule-based, structured data, deterministic way. And that was quite powerful because it really brought in the operational efficiency and reduction in the cost that was much needed. And then what happened is with integration of AI with automation, it brought in the added capabilities like machine learning, like OCR, like NLP, Gen AI, etc. And that really helped extend the scope of automation to like document understanding, to data extraction from the unstructured sources, to analyzing the sentiments, which was not there as a part of the normal RPA automation that we were doing. So that was a second phase. And if you look at the third phase of evolution, which we are living in now with the agentic automation era, is all about having a autonomous AI agents, which has the capacity to think, to reason, to learn, to take the decisions autonomously. And I think that is what is driving this wave of automation, which we call it agentic automation. So if you look at from evolution from a simple task-based evolution to RPA to AI-powered automation to agentic automation, the difference is agentic automation addresses, it helps address the complex tasks, it helps address the analyzing unstructured data, it helps address at the speed and the accuracy which is required with minimal human intervention. So I think that's the very simplistic definition I would say, that when you want to extend the automation without minimal human intervention, leveraging AI agents which are capable of making decisions, I think that is what the agentic automation is all about.
Coming to you, Alok, from your experience of delivering automation from, like say, starting with RPA and now coming to Agentic, what would you
Yeah,
like to add to what Rajesh has
yeah.
talked about?
Thank you, Rajesh, for putting it so nicely and taking us beyond agentic that where it all started. And today it is a buzzword. Maybe the people are new who are listening to agentic AI. There are people like us and our customers who have been doing automation for ages. And then this is new word, something a new beast has come in. For me, agentic automation is when automation can decide the next step on its own instead of waiting for a fixed rule or workflow. In RPA, we script tasks. In agentic system, we give an objective and the system figures out how to achieve that objective using context, memory, tools, and the things Rajesh talked about that sentiment analysis and other stuff. It feels less like bot now and more like a junior who can read, think, and act. So that's my take on agentic automation.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Alok. That's a great introduction to people who want to know or say simplify the understanding of agentic automation and agents to start with. Now coming to the business side of it, coming to you, Rajesh, from UiPath's perspective, what is actually driving this shift? Is it AI? Is it better orchestration, or is it a broader change in the perspective of how organizations approach automation nowadays?
Yeah, great question, Tiffany. I think it's a mix of everything that you said. But if we have to understand it in more detail as to what is driving this shift, let's look at how the technology landscape has evolved within large enterprises or within the organizations. Especially after COVID, there is a plethora of digital applications that organizations have embraced and deployed into their technology stack. Given that a lot of line of business and the functions wanted to have their independent applications, I think today if we look at large enterprises, at any given point in time, they would be using more than 175 application and system. That's huge, right? And many of these would be legacy applications. Some of them will be on premise, some of them will be on cloud, and many of them will operating in the silos. So if you look at the digital landscape today, has become more complex. But what has not changed is organizations still need to achieve their processes, whether it is procure to pay, order to cash, hire to retire, no matter how many application and system you have. And some of these processes, they cut through all of these systems, whether you have a CRM, whether you have an ERP, whether you have other system, HR systems. I think some process will touch some of this application and system. And then what becomes, it becomes extremely challenging for the organizations to drive end-to-end workflow automation. Now, technologies were put to do a small task automation, but the complexity that I spoke about, given that complexity, it is extremely difficult to have end-to-end workflow automation. The second thing is we are living in an era, an environment where things are changing constantly. Okay, there are updates happening in the system. There are business workflow changing. There are business rule changing every time in an organization. Okay, now how do we keep pace with this? How does automation keep pace with all these changes? And hence, the RPA couldn't keep up with this thing. While it is if you compare, it is more of a static automation, right? Today we are living in a world which is more dynamic, and hence we needed agentic automation in terms of which is one, as Alok said, it has to be context aware. Okay, and the context is changing. It has to be ready to adopt to the changing which is happening in a real time. And hence, agentic automation becomes need of the hour if we have to cater to the end-to-end complex workflows and unstructured data and the changes which is taking place.
Yeah, earlier automation needed perfect inputs.
Yeah.
And today, AI lets automation deal with messy real world data. This single change, I believe this single change has opened the door to agentic workflows, and that can help workflow to adapt, reason, respond instead of just executing instructions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you, Rajesh. So one thing after listening to you both, one thing that feels clear to me is like we are not taking a clear break from RPA. It's more on building what we have already built, or say industries have already built on our in terms of automation on RPA. Is it like so? Coming to you, Alok, when you work with clients, now those clients are looking for agentic automation. Earlier, they were working in RPA. And does this shift look more like an extension of what they have built, or is it a completely reworking or say restructuring of automation altogether?
I see both. Okay. So if an existing automation or your automations are stable and well documented, we extend them with AI components and agent style of decision blocks. If the workflow are rigid, outdated, then we rebuild. Okay. The shift is less about throwing away old work, but more about redesigning the autonomy, keeping the autonomy in mind. Okay, so if you have an existing process, we are not saying just throw it away and restart. It's more about that whether it is built very rigidly, then of course we have to redesign, but from the autonomous perspective. Think of it as upgrading your computer rather than scrapping it. Okay, so you put an NVIDIA chipset in your computer to make it more AI. So I see we deal with both. We recommend both. It's more of the nature of work rather than the nature of the process that is there, rather than uh, that everything has to be rebuilt.
Yeah, so just to follow up on that. So if an organization is starting its automation journey today, so how do they approach it? So do they need to build their RPA capability first and then they go to agentic automation, or they can just start with agentic automation? That this could be a question some of the listeners must be thinking about. So I thought I'll just ask this as
I'll
a
take it
follow-up.
first and then
Yeah.
you
Absolutely. Yeah.
that you asked that if someone is beginner, so
Yeah.
should they start with agentic automation and or they should first build RPA foundation?
Yeah.
I will say that, and we recommend those people. There are very few people who have not tried automation in past, but still, if there are few left, that if your process is structured straight through, RPA is still the fastest and cheaper entry point. Fortunately, UiPath platform has everything available. Okay, so you can do RPA and you can do agentic AI. But if the process is messy, unstructured, conversational, or needs reasoning, there are human in the loops or at many entry points, then I recommend starting directly with agentic model. That make more sense. So both are valid, and as I said, the right answer depends on nature of work, not the maturity of the company or COE. So don't go by that we are very mature, so we are for agentic automation. Even if you are starting today, if your processes are messy and structured, conversational, need context, need more decision making, then you should start with agentic AI.
Sure. So coming to you, Rajesh, I was like say intrigued when I saw UiPath's positioning on this matter. So UiPath is talking about and actually leading this movement from RPA to agentic, and the base being so UiPath talks about bots do, agents think, and humans lead. That's the positioning of UiPath's agentic automation. So how do you see this change? So is it like RPA is the basic foundation one any company needs to build in their automation journey?
So absolutely, and I'll take the segue from what Alok mentioned, and I echo what Alok said. I think there are misconceptions that with advent of agentic automation or with agentic automation coming in play, RPA will become kind of redundant or RPA will become non-existent, but that's not true. I think RPA will remain as a foundational technology in the automation. And if you look at, what we discussed at the start in terms of the evolution of the automation, I think RPA has a role to play. All the high volume, deterministic, rule-based, predictable task has to be accomplished by bots. So you still need bots for the execution. You still need human for the higher end strategic thinking, for the complex decision making, all of that. And then we have a new element called autonomous AI agents. So autonomous AI agent gets added in the equation. So the RPA, the bots and the human loops, they are not going away. They are going to be stay in the equation, right? Agentic automation complements what we have achieved and what we have built. And that also gives companies like UiPath of us a natural extension and natural ability to extend our platform capabilities to Agentic, because we have pioneered and we have proven platform in terms of the RPA capabilities. Now we are extending that to the Agentic automation. So RPA is going to stay as a foundation technology. Agentic will build on that. The only additional advantage I would say is like it's not, while it is the next step in terms of the evaluation, but in terms of the impact, it is exponential. It is not incremental. While it is, one step we are extending from, RPA to AI powered automation to agentic automation. But if we look at the benefits that it will deliver, it will be, exponential. And that's where I think differentiator comes in.
Thank you so much. Continuing on that, Alok, when you speak to, as an automation service provider, when you speak to clients, so how does now that the movement is happening from RPA to agentic, how does this change the way RPA Tech structures its delivery, its team capability, and also, like, say, roadmaps for its clients?
Yeah, good, and we can talk hours on this. However, in the interest of time, that I'll talk about that what changes we bring in for agentic automation and how it changes the implementation. That our design approach has changed from building task bot to building outcome system. I call it outcome systems. We focus more on context handling, decision logic, human in the loop points, and the team structure is also changing. You need solution designer who understand both RPA and LLM behaviors, not just developers who write activities. Delivery become more iterative, let's say more agile, because these systems learn from data and feedback. So in our, we might have mentioned many times in our uh, events, that we use D3O to deliver our automation services, which is discovery, design, deployment, and optimization. Agentic automation fit naturally in the cycle. In discovery, we look outcomes instead of tasks. As mentioned earlier, also in design, we plan decision points, context handling, human in the loop, and safety boundaries. In development, of course, there are so many technology now. AI and UiPath has made it available. RPA, LLM, APIs. We see it as a single system, not separate tools, while developing things. And of course, in optimization, we refine behavior based on the data and real usage, that there may be some feedback where decision making can be improved. The idea is simple: help client adapt agentic automation without destruction. Give them quick win, low risk pilot, reusable components, and a team that understand both the RPA discipline. RPA comes with discipline. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. And AI first design. Okay, so when you're designing, the AI first is something that we keep in mind. This is how we are preparing our clients and ourselves for the shift.
Thank you, Alok. Now, coming to, so whenever there is a technology new technology that comes into picture, there are challenges with regards to how we approach the adoption of the technology. So, Rajesh, coming to you, is this with your interaction with the numerous clients that you have? So, does this look like a mindset shift or challenge, or it's a capability challenge? So, where do you see most organizations today getting stuck in the adoption phase?
Yes, I think as you rightly said, I think any new technology comes with a lot of apprehensions, a lot of concerns. There are a few customers who are, advanced in terms of embracing the latest technology. They will take the plunge, and you will have always, people who are sitting on the fence, waiting for everything to be settled, secured, tried and tested. So I think we see customers at the end of, different ends of the pendulum. But in terms of the customers who have started adopting is what kind of the challenge is. So I think both. I think as you rightly said, there is a mindset challenge also, because I think there is a concern that, if today with the RPA and normal automation, there is still human in the loop, there is a human for the decision making. If gradually this decision making also shifts to the agent, then what will human do? But I think, organization needs to realize that, human should be doing the best what they are best at doing. Okay, in terms of strategic thinking, in terms of the complex problem solving, creativity, all of that, right? The whole objective of agentic automation is to free up that human bandwidth for high impact work. So obviously it's a mindset shift. Second, with regards to technology, as we said that, it is autonomous AI agents, right? Which means that as more and more you bring this into your business operation, your massive amount of organizational data is exposed to AI agents, right? And that sometimes poses a risk in terms of security risk, in terms of confidentiality. So governance becomes absolutely critical. And if we don't put in the guardrails around governance, security, trust, then I think it poses a threat to the whole operations. So I think these are some of the challenges the early adopters are facing, and that's why they are taking the baby steps. They are not going all out to implement agentic automation, but they are looking at areas where they can start with, which is risk vulnerable in terms of the financial exposures and all of that, and then gradually moving into areas where once it is proven, once they establish the standard SOPs, all of that, then it is easy to extend into other functions within the organization.
Thank you. So just to follow up on that, Alok, if I may have a word from you in terms of when a company is starting this journey, how crucial it is to build the internal capability to have agentic automation capability within the team.
Yeah, means if a new tech is there, of course you need capabilities to implement it. However, what we recommend people who are getting started is to start small. Add one agentic component to any existing workflow. For example, use an LLM to read unstructured input, email segregation, or let an agent to take decision on exemptions. Whatever exception you are facing, put the agent to take decisions there instead of going to whole decision making. So you don't need a large budget or a new AI team to start with. What you need today is one sponsor in your company, one smart vendor like us, and one use case to get it started. Of course, a safe sandbox and guardrails is if it is there, it is enough to build confidence and get it started. Once you get that confidence, you will love it that how the messy processes are being streamlined with the agentic automation.
Yeah, just to add to what Alok said, I think today what's happening is with low code platforms and natural language tools available, I think it is getting democratized. Okay, and what do I mean by that is today business teams on their own, they can deploy and manage the agents with availability of the low code tools and the platforms as I mentioned. So what does it do is it also frees up the bandwidth of the technology team for more innovation for the organizations. So as Alok said, start small, have a small agents for doing certain tasks, and then I think you can gradually expand the scope. So you don't really need to very heavy budget or heavy technology skills to getting started.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Alok. Just moving on, like say, now we have talked about the challenges, how the agentic automation is bringing in the change. But at the same point in time, as a business, businesses are thinking, how do they get started? So what are the use cases that tend to deliver best early on? Or say, what are the quick win use cases that industries across industries can adopt? So can you guys, like say, share some of those use cases? Rajesh, to start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the proof of the pudding is eating it, and then the, rubber meets the road, right? I mean, we can discuss the possibilities and art of possible and the strength of any technology, but unless it delivers the real and tangible business outcome, it's of no use. So we have seen, agentic automation making huge difference across, multiple industries, starting with, financial services, healthcare, insurance, manufacturing. We have seen, ton of use cases being deployed by our customers within India and globally, and I can give a couple of examples. So one of the large insurance companies globally has deployed the claim management using agentic automation. We have a global manufacturing company in India. They have started, they were of course on RPA journey with us for many years, and they have started agentic automation for something known as HSN code compliance. Okay, what does that mean? Is HSN code is required for multiple purposes like GST tax reconciliation, for international trade, for custom clearance, and it brings in the uniformity between international and the domestic trade. So it is extremely important that the classification of the goods be done using the HSN code. And that is what, the use case that they have deployed. Very successful. They have seen the, immediately they have seen the saving in terms of, because they used to have multiple classification of the goods done manually, and now which is being done by the agents. Then we have one of the large agri-retail company. They are deploying a couple of very interesting use cases. Okay, one is obviously the vendor invoice validation agent that they have deployed, because when you receive an invoice from multiple sources like invoice or from internal transaction system, first you need to validate certain things like the supplier names and the rate card and the systems data, etc., and all of that. So all of these things they are doing using the agent. Then you have they are also using another interesting use case, which is on a bank statement reconciliation. Because when you're dealing with multiple banks, I think there are multiple statements that you receive at a different frequency. Now, how do you reconcile some of these statements? So these are some of the early use cases that we have seen customer adopting, and we have seen the success.
Yeah, absolutely. Many of the use cases Rajesh has put in, they are vertical and industry specific. How I see it, that when whatever we have deployed so far using automation, there are automation where existing challenges are there. Like if in invoice processing, if we see there are two challenges that comes very often. One is that validating the invoice against supplier, HSN, GST, and other thing. The other place is the input problem. Okay, so the input, the format change, the vendor change, they use various system, and then you do template based IDPs. However, with this agentic automation, you can solve both in invoice processing, and we have seen success as Rajesh has mentioned. Bank reconciliation. People have 2,000. We implemented at one of our customer. They had 2,500 accounts with almost 20 banks, and they have different format, MT4 format that comes with another platform, and that has to be understood. The opening and closing balance has to be understood before you launch the reconciliation in SAP. And where these intelligence of agent comes in the picture, and it becomes streamlined and it does not make mistake, and the what is the cash in hand is now easier for a CFO to know quickly, on time. And when if I go horizontally, not the use cases, I generally suggest that you deploy agents wherever you are reading emails, wherever your inputs are unstructured. If you have to summarize documents, so you assist human, okay, wherever the human needs assistance, unlike summarizing documents, handling exception, analyzing logs. And these teach teams how to work with autonomy while keeping risk low. Once you gain confidence, then you go to multi-step workflows in automation.
Thank you, Alok. Now we have talked about how the shift is happening. We have simplified understanding agentic automation. We have talked about the challenges. We have talked about whether you need RPA as a foundation to get started with your agentic journey. All of those. Now coming to the collaboration part of it. Like say, no technology adoption happens in silos. So there is an ecosystem that works together. So UiPath works together, companies like RPA Tech for implementing these agentic automation solution. So the question is to Rajesh, how is UiPath equipping its partners in the ecosystem to guide customers through this transition?
Absolutely, I think very good questions. And I think as we discussed, any new technology requires, collaborative efforts between, the product vendors, the partner ecosystem, and the customer as well. Because today there are a lot of use cases that we haven't thought about. Customers are coming back saying that, hey, can we do that? So we discuss collaboratively with partners like RPA Tech and say that yes, this is doable. So I think partner plays a very, very important role in terms of, if this technology has to proliferate and we have to democratize and, get it to the last mile to every organization, to every LOB, then the role of partners like RPA Tech becomes extremely important. So from our side, effort is to obviously, educate and create the awareness. There are certifications, there are partner enablement sessions that we do, and we also run a lot of community events to kind of create awareness for the customers. Okay, so it's a three-pronged approach. Our own teams, partner, customers, and our community all coming together and kind of collaboratively ideating as to how do we leverage the transformative potential that agentic automation can offer. So I think this is how we are driving the adoptions, and we have seen the success, a lot of use cases. We are also doing co-creation of some of the reusable assets with partners like RPA Tech, so that if let's say we have created like with one of the use case which is like monthly closure of business books, right? So if we have done that, how do we replicate to the multiple organization? So I think these are some of the steps and initiatives that we are doing in order to support the customers.
Thank you, Rajesh. So coming to you, Alok, what is RPA Tech doing on its front to help, like say, work in tandem with UiPath to see through this transition?
Yeah, I touched upon it in between that what
Yes.
changes we have built in RPA Tech. However, in this, I'll add that in RPA Tech, we have aligned our offerings under 4A model, automation, analytics, agents, and apps. So agents are now not as separate, it is part of the ecosystem, okay? And that's how we propagate that anywhere there is an agent required in your ecosystem, you treat it like a teammate. Okay, so we are building a team in larger workflow, and this gives us a clean way to bring agentic capabilities into everything we deliver, not as an add-on, but as a part of core stack. And UiPath has been leader into automation, and we have been associated from start. And being UiPath leading agentic AI revolution that is coming, we are very happy that we are aligned with them on this, and we are recommending our customers. We have trained our team. Our team has trained on agentic AI, LLMs, prompt engineering, context engineering, and using other stack like I told you, built-in analytics agents and app. So that's how we are taking. As I said, we are doing it AI first design.
Thank you, Alok. Now we are reaching the end, towards the end of the session. So one question to both of you. For leaders watching this right now, or say later on when they do the replay of the video, if there is one strategic opportunity they should be paying attention to right now when it comes to agentic automation, what would that be? So you can start, Alok, and then Rajesh can pitch in.
Yeah, means the leaders today are guiding us instead of we guiding us, because leaders are no longer satisfied with automating tasks. They want system that can take an outcome responsibility. The mindset shift pushes the entire ecosystem forward. So today, wherever if we casually we mention in a casual talk that if the processes which are today your pain points and where there are a lot of exceptions happening, those are the clear cut use case today to pick first and solve. And trust me that the exception will significantly go down.
Yeah, coming to you,
Absolutely.
Rajesh. Yeah,
Yeah,
please go
absolutely,
ahead.
Alec. I think absolutely. I think today, if you look at, I think the technology can do magic, and with the power of agentic automation, I think leaders can drive the growth forward for their organization. I think the cost of doing nothing will be more than I think taking a leap. That is what I would say. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have reached the end of the session, but we have a couple of audience questions. I know we are already over time, but we will try to address those questions. So the couple of them, Anish is asking, as an AI enablement enterprise architect, what would be your recommendation on what architectural patterns or for AI powered automation that large enterprises should adopt?
Uh, that's quite deep questions. Okay, and architectural patterns in this time of what introduction of agentic AI is something very deep topic to cover. But Anish, we will get in touch with you and take it to the multiple architectural pattern that's are available. UiPath Agentic Maestro that is available, that is one stop shop where you can build those architecture and built in other components that are available. However, there is no one answer. I will in there. We will talk to you and discuss that what are the architectural pattern that we can use in agentic, because we can't answer it in 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, the second question is, how does an enterprise scale from one pilot or one agent and evolve into operational multi-agent systems where swarm of autonomous agents working in tandem?
It's a great question, and as I said, I touched upon that there is a democratization happening. I think if you leave everything to the technology team, because they have a massive backlog of application development, testing, and a lot of this thing. So technology has to democratize. And as I said, with availability of the low-code development tools, with natural language interfaces, I think business users and LOBs, they need to build their own agents, deploy their agents, and manage their agents for small LOB specific use cases. So that is the first way to move from pilot to getting the agentic automation into the multiple department or the business unit. The second thing is to obviously leverage the strength of the partnerships, like domain expertise that RPA and then providers like us bring it together. The third is, if you look at UiPath, we also acquired a company called Peak recently. Peak provide vertical agent solutions. Okay, so whether if you want to do inventory management or pricing management for a retail industry, there are ready-made solutions available, and there are a lot of other vertical solutions available as a part of that capability that we bring on the table. And the third thing is you touch upon that how does this work in the tandem, which is a very good question, because today if you look at any enterprise, they will have a bots from multiple providers or multiple vendors. They will have agents from the native application. Let's say you are using ERP, SAP. SAP might provide agents for some of the functions. If you are using a CRM, from companies like Salesforce, they will have the sales agent or service agent. So if you look at today's landscape, you will have agents from multiple application and service provider. You will have bots from different companies. But how do you orchestrate humans, agents, and bots and the system in a very symbiotic way and very collaborative way to achieve end-to-end workflow automation? And that is when UiPath differentiator comes into play. And as you rightly said, the Maestro platform, which is our orchestration platform, which does this job. So which helps you get everything in tandem and work very seamlessly.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, both of you, for sharing your insights, and thank you everyone who have joined us live and stayed through the conversation, even though we have like say overshot the time by 10-15 minutes. But this was a great conversation which throwed light on the journey of agentic automation, simplified things for early adopters, and yeah, we will look forward to continuing this like say these practical perspectives on how organizations can scale their automation in a smarter way. And yeah, so we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, tuning in. Hope you have enjoyed the conversation, and apologies for the initial technical glitch. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.